Welcome to the Ramblr Project podcast. Once again, doing a double podcast here. Matthew Davidge, Matthew Ravida,
Hello.
Matty D, Matt R, and Dan.
And Dan P.
Danny P.
A cheese guy right now.
Danny P.
Danny P on the track.
Probably because it's 2023, new year, new me, new everybody. We're talking all this cheesiness. We're going to talk about goals and everybody's like crazy ambitions that sometimes are super, super overwhelming and rub people the wrong way, which we're going to talk about.
Ooh, I love that. I love rubbing people the wrong way.
Yeah.
You got to have some cockiness in your life. Are you kidding me?
I know. Well,
no.
some people get overwhelmed by that, or maybe they want to like have serious goals. So whether your goal is mentally,
really
physically, spiritually, you want to
literally
financially do something.
If you saw the video I posted, they saw a TikTok I posted of Deion Sanders, and he literally says, "Do not let my confidence affect your insecurities."
Damn.
Just because I am
But
confident
also, who
in myself.
the fuck is saying that to somebody? Who's saying like "fuck you" because you have goals? You know what I mean? Like,
No,
I
it's
think
not.
a lot of people
It's
like,
not that it's-
especially.
but I've
I think it's
experienced that type of
abundance in how
person.
you share goals. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna make $100,000.
But that's
this
just
year or
bro.
something.
It's so easy to see that's like so full of shit.
I know, but it's the same people, dude. I love personally people show their Spotify Wrapped and stuff on Instagram. I think it's genuine cool. Remember like back when we were favorite
my
albums?
favorite thing, man.
Then you
It's
have
my
people who
favorite
like
thing.
post something on Instagram and like I don't give a fuck about your Spotify Wrapped. It's like okay, well Instagram's a platform where you share yourself personally in your
Yeah.
life. Just so if you don't like that,
Hey, just don't
have
go on Instagram that day,
Just
maybe.
just unfollow that person.
Yeah, just
Yeah, I
unfollow,
hate
bro.
the backlash stuff. Whatever. People.
No,
wanna
that's like my
share
favorite
their
thing.
stuff.
It's like
I think
never
it's cool 'cause
shit on.
yeah.
Never shit on somebody for sharing something
Yeah.
because you don't know the hurdle that person had to get over to share that.
Very good point.
You know what I'm saying?
Very
Like,
good point. And it's like, dude, like I'll just say, like, people have some like serious ass goals, like
Yeah.
for this year. And like, we're gonna talk about our personal stuff, and like maybe necessarily timelines aren't a thing, but
I wrote
for a lot of
something. I
people
read
who are in like,
probably like 12 or 15. I
dude,
think.
think about people who are already. Matt. We're gonna dive right into this. It is motivating as I guess we can swear.
This
It's
guy just asked if we can swear
On
on
my-
our own podcast.
Anyways, it's,
Oh, God, can I swear? Oh my God. Cancel that. Edit it. Cancel him.
yeah, dude, it's motivating as fuck seeing someone being like day one, day
Yes.
two, like
You inspired me to do something.
yes,
that
and
we'll
we're gonna
talk
get to Matt in a second, but I'm gonna start off as goofy as like Dave Portnoy. He's doing a sit up a day for the whole year. So he started with one sit up.
One day or is it each day? It's like 2, 3.
Each day he goes up a sit up, but he's
Oh, that's
posting
awesome.
every single day. So it's like
I didn't
even
know
as-
that, and I follow the guy.
Dude, even as
That's
goofy as
awesome.
that, I think it's kind of cool because you're seeing all these like you're seeing people who are actually getting public because. And we're gonna start by this. It holds you accountable. As
Yes.
jokes as it is, like
Yeah.
it's holding like let's say like someone's goofy like Dave Portnoy accountable. But like Matt, we're gonna jump into this every single day. Now I know you did it before, off and on. Now every single day you're posting, "Hey, I'm out here. It's early. It's cold. I'm trying to get better.
Yeah.
I'm working hard,
It's
and I'm
early as
sending.
fuck."
But like the important thing, I'm sending tons of love your way,
Yeah.
right? So you're like this beaming sun in the morning that everyone's seeing, and it's motivating us. I'm seeing it, not
Yeah.
seeing it. It's like infectious. So I don't know. I feel like we talked before we started recording about not having New Year's resolutions, or maybe you had them before. That's a pretty good one, man. Like you're holding yourself accountable and you're posting every single day, right?
Yeah.
It's so interesting because you guys were asking me what I was doing. I just posted a TikTok. We'll talk about that too. I just posted a TikTok explaining why I'm actually doing like the 60 days
Cool.
of like.
So now's your time to follow Matt on TikTok.
Yeah, you follow me on TikTok. The sun is shining. And is it Sun is Shining Matt? I don't even know my own TikTok name.
It's Sun is
Maybe-
Shining Matt.
Yeah. So, yeah, like, first of all, thank you guys for that. I appreciate it because, like, that's also part of everything that I do is, like, my goal is to inspire those around me in my life. And I feel like I'm able to captivate that in my communities. And I really want to, like, share my story and continue my storytelling and do better at a larger scale and a larger platform. And a lot of what my issues were, I talked to Matt about it a lot, talked to you about it a lot, and sometimes on the same occasion, is that I don't want to come off as disingenuine. And sometimes when you're like at our stage of like really small quote unquote content creators, so I don't consider myself that, but like it really comes off as like our circles don't necessarily support it. We talked about it with Mr. Emperor Dijon of how like when you start off on this super small scale is that people don't look at you wrong and think like, oh, you're trying to be like a viral TikToker or like some YouTuber. And like in a way, yeah, because I feel like my traumas and my experiences that I've been through in life could potentially help others. So why not try and do that?
Yeah.
Like, and why?
Also, like, where's the negative connotation behind that? Like, why is it a bad thing to be that?
I know, and I
what
think
I mean?
just I know 100% you're saying that. Why is it a bad thing? It's also like the reality of the world in it, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's like everyone knows you wear so many hats, Matt. You do so many different things, and like you're putting it out there not to become like famous. Like you're putting it out there just like genuinely for the sake of other people, and like being like, hey man, I'm doing this. You're not faking. You're not hiding behind a camera and then going back into bed.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you're outside walking. So why not document it and share it? And then people that say like, oh wow, it's annoying, unfollow. I don't know. Like,
exactly.
Some people, I get it. Some people just like, they like to have Instagram. They like to scroll through like their highlight reel, like TSN, like bloopers, things like that. Maybe like some dude they went to high school with keeps posting and it maybe annoys them. Like I don't see that happening with you at all, but I'm saying I can see that. But it's just like, then we're in a world, unfortunately or fortunately, of content creation. Yeah. It's fast consumable content. It's work, and it's what everyone's glued to. It's like parents are glued to it. So it's like,
so even like before you go, like a few things, I didn't even cut you off, like a few things to go back to what you said about the challenge. So like, again, I explained a bit more, but it really came down to 3 things for me. Is that like, I'm marrying Sarah this year. It's like, woo, I'm getting freaking married. So I can't wait for that. Like I'm super excited, but with that, eventually, you know, Sarah may want to have kids. And and my life will change. And everyone who's in my life knows how important like any type of physical activity, movement, being outside is to me. And when I have kids, I don't want to put that on the back burner because to have a successful marriage and be a successful parent, I feel like I still have to focus on my own mental health. You have
to take the time for yourself
and my own physical health. So doing this challenge that I read up online, it could be some BS, who knows, because you could read something online here that says this, you could read something online there that says that, but it said it takes about 2 months or 66 days to create some type of habit. So I'm like, let's get used to getting up early, moving my body, activating my muscles and things like that, to doing something that I'm not used to or I'm not accustomed to doing. So I was like, it's going to instill that in me to like have this habit, getting up early, moving my body, doing something good that I like to do. And then with that is like, I was telling Dan a few days ago, today actually is, I want to own a business. And like part of that too of setting these habits is you're not going to want to work some days when you own your own business. You're going to have to work at 3 a.m, at 8 o'clock at night, random times. So it's like juggling these things and learning the time management is going to be huge for that.
Are these written down New Year's resolution goals? Or are these just like, so we were talking about before, like, are these hard written down, like Bristol board on the wall goals? Or are these like just in the mind goals?
Yeah. So the coolest thing, and it's so corny, but I love it because I'm corny and I'm a fruitcake, and I love that about me because when we had, I forget his name, about having masculine and feminine qualities, and I think that's fucking awesome because I have strong feminine qualities, but we talked about it. I'll go in a basketball court, in between those 4 lines, I am not mental health Matt anymore. So I love that about me, how I can have that, right? So with having those qualities that I feel is like super important, it's like I can do things. Oh my God, I lost my train of thought. I was going on a tangent. What did you ask me quickly?
I asked you, did you write down?
Yeah, so write down the goals. So back to the cornball mat. So on New Year's Eve, instead of going out, my lovely fiance and me sat down and wrote down what we liked about 2022.
That's beautiful,
and
man.
what our goals were
for
2023.
I wasn't that big.
Yeah, so like, we've been together for 9 years, and that's never happened. And it was Sarah's idea, which was like super awesome.
Yeah, shout out Sarah, bro.
Yeah, she's the goat. I talk about her all the time.
Just crack a beverage or just
no, I know I don't drink, so.
Coffee.
Yeah, coffee and water, and just sitting there writing down these goals and these aspirations, and like we were really reflecting on 22 and what we were proud of ourselves for.
And I think that's so important. Is looking back. And I think we get so caught up in, like, I think I did maybe starting off this podcast, like it's so important looking back to see how far you.
Like I walked fucking 24 hours in 2022.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like stuff like
man.
that where like you sit, like Sarah completed her master's. She has a published article. It's like for us, like sitting down and hearing those things out loud is like, holy shit, I did that.
Yeah.
And like going to 2023, we have these goals we want to work on. Like for me, it's like, you know, some relationship stuff, like focusing more on each other, planning our wedding, things like that. And we both had start a business or own a business.
Amazing.
So I'm just like, I'm very business oriented. I come from a business background. It was instilled in me at an early age. I'm like, damn, like my fiance wants to do that too. So let's do it. Like, let's put our money where our mouth is. We've invested some money, made some money this last few years. So why not like invest in ourselves and take a risk?
Yeah.
Right. And that was super important to me. So that's why moving forward, I'm really trying to do that. So for the goals, like I have some of those goals, but what Matt even said about me is like, I feel like my goals are always ever changing. I hit new thresholds and I want to accomplish something new. So that's also like just something ever flowing, but really on the main things is like, my two biggest main goals that I can think of is like starting in owning a business or acquiring a business, same kind of thing, and like filming more content and doing more content. And that's kind of what I really want to do moving forward, like explaining my life and things I've been through. So those are kind of my written down goals. And of course, I'm working on the non-for-profit still and trying to elaborate that and get investors and people to kind of support that side of it as well.
Yeah.
But those are like my main goals. And then I know I'm going on a lot right now, but like back to one last point that you guys can dive in or go your own way is what you mentioned just earlier about the accountability. Is that's why I love sharing stuff on social media every single day and being accountable. Because like when I can go out and tell myself I'm going to go work out or wake up and move my body for 66 straight days, don't need to tell anyone. And I could stop at day 4 and day 5, but yeah, that's it, I'm done. Yeah. But having that public accountability and sharing myself publicly, it's almost like I have that other pressure that kicks me back into gear when I'm doubting myself. Because when we doubt ourselves and there's no one else that knows what you're doing, that's it. Go back to bed. That's it. Hey, I'm putting my content out there. I'm telling people I'm getting up every day. Like, no, get your ass up. Move your body because you feel great after every time you do it. So why are you going to stop? And that's kind of what we talked about too with social media is I see it as like my digital journal. I don't just see it as like, oh, Spotify, people all get off social media, then don't follow that person.
Picture
first of
your
all.
feet at the beach.
Yeah, like, then don't follow those people then. That's on you. Like for me, like it's my digital journal because I get to scroll through my Instagram feed. I get to scroll through my tweets, my TikToks down the line, YouTube shorts, all this stuff and be like, I fucking did that. Yeah. Like I can look back and be like, yeah, I did that. Or even like my stories. Cause I share a lot on my Instagram stories and like you can go through 2020, 2021, 2019. Like, yeah, I was here. I was there. I did that. I accomplished that. Oh, that was a bad day. Yeah. I remember why that was and how I got over that and turn into a better day. So it's like, that's why I love about just like this age that we're in of like sharing content and like kind of like viewing social media as like my own digital journey and not worrying about what other people think of my own social media, right? Which I think is huge.
Yeah, there was something that I heard the other day. I think it was yesterday. It was like, don't let somebody's behind the scenes mess with your highlight reel. It was like, don't let somebody's like basically saying like,
I get it.
Don't let like this person's behind the scenes just fuck up you seeing someone's highlight reel. And then the other question I was thinking about is like, for you, the time change, what was the time change? Like, what were you up normally before and like, what are you up now?
Sometimes when I would start, like when I work 8 to 4, I would sometimes roll to bed at like 7:30, 7:45 and just, open up my laptop and start.
Wow.
So now I'm doing like 5:45, trying to get
really
up,
structured morning routine.
Eat something, go for a walk. If I feel like going to the gym, I'll go to the gym, work out, go to the stairs, do something, just moving my body. And then I'm sharing it because like other people are seeing that and like, people that we've had on the podcast, people who I never even engaged with the last few years are like, Matt, like I'm getting up early and I'm looking to do some things like that.
Yeah, so minor audio difficulty, but we're back. We're rolling. I guess there wasn't really a problem.
We were talking about what the difference between the current and the two time changes.
Yeah, just like, but we were wrapping up about how people are messaging me saying they're inspired, they're looking to change their lifestyles and things like that. But like that's why I want to share more content and just get out of my own head because I have bigger aspirations on like the content side to share. And I just feel, bro, like I've been through so much and everyone in my circle, like I'm gonna toot my own horn for a second. Like everyone in my circle knows that and appreciates and is captivated by what I share and who I am and things I've done. It's like, I kind of said already, but I want a larger scale. I want to just help more people from like a philanthropic side of points, philanthropy. Yeah. Philanthropic, whatever.
Okay, that's why I didn't step in. Cause I'm like, you know what? There's like a chance that
That's why I didn't get an English degree. I probably should have paid attention in English class. Instead, it was always Shakespeare. I actually learned something in English. But yeah, so that's why this stuff is like so important. Like I'm giddy. Like you can see me. Like I'm freaking, bro. I was up.
So you're giddy for 23. You're
like
giddy.
I am giddy, man. Like I'm 28 years old. I feel great mentally.
But it's your Jordan year.
Yeah. It's literally. It's my Jordan year plus 6 years. 29 next month.
23, man.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like I said that today in my story. I feel great mentally. And I'm just trying to work hard. You know what I mean? It's like I was watching this one guy even for like gym content. It's like you think you're at failure, but are you really at failure at that last rep?
JPG
And
coaching,
it can be applied to more than just working out. It's just like, are you really pushing yourself outside of your own limits, or is it when you reach that limit, you're like, that's enough's enough? Like, you say you don't have time, stop saying you don't have time, make time.
Yeah. Okay. There's this thing I heard. It's called the celebrity effect. So, people always use time as the example. Oh, no, time. Okay, so they use this as like a counter. It said, if your favorite celebrity DM'd you tomorrow and said, let's go for lunch, you would literally do everything, bro. So like the time excuse is bullshit, right? That's what they kind of associate it with. And then there was, two things I'm thinking about too, is there's this guy I follow on TikTok, Sam. He's from Create More Studios out of New York City. He's like this really cool content creator, really thoughtful, like really geared towards the style of content that I want to make as well. But he did 100 days of content creation. He has to make a video, like a short little through his day. 100 days. And I was like, holy fucking shit. Like the daily thing is so cool to me because...
That's like Tim Shizuno too, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So, and I was going to tell you too, Matt, when I'm on my trip, I want to do a daily journal. Like I want to journal every single day I'm on my trip. And I want to do a small little TikTok or whatever that looks like, talking about the journal entry, like what I was feeling that day, what I wrote about.
You should just literally make the digital journal, like what I was just talking about.
Yeah. So
I know you like journaling.
I want to do it on paper. And also too, I was thinking about this like selfishly, like all this content we have is stuff that our kids are going to watch one day, which is like so wholesome, bro. So wholesome.
Yeah.
Depends on stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But like... Dan's trying to make movies, bro.
My kid sees me like, oh my god, dad, day 57. Hi guys, it's 5 a.m. Like crazy dad.
I was thinking about all that shit, man,
my kids'
because
friends.
That motherfucker's still getting up.
Yeah.
Because my dad stopped he was shooting a little bit of stuff with my sister when she was a kid, but kind of stopped a lot when I was born. Like there's a little bit of footage for me when I was like a baby, but like really nothing really. And I'm like, fuck, man, there's so many cool years. My mom's like telling me these like little stories all the time that I would do. And I'm just like, those moments are like undescribable. You'll never have that again, man.
Yeah.
So many firsts. But it's also like the balance of like trying to be in the moment and trying to experience it and also like trying to make good content. And like Tim Chijanos talked about that too. He was on a really cool podcast to listen to. I was saying that I'll show you guys this guy I found. Such a good interviewer, dude. He asked like the most thoughtful fucking questions.
Yeah, it sounds like you always find good.
Yeah, but he was asking him, he's like, how do you balance some of those moments where you're at a family dinner and it's an intimate setting and still capture a little clip? Like, how do you do that organically? How do you get a hug?
It's so true. He did it with his friends at like a bar. I saw that. I was
actually he's like, how do you get a hug from your wife without you having to do it 3 or 4? Okay, now, like, so he was like talking about those little nuances, and he was just kind of like talking about how he sees the moment before it's going to happen, and he'll set up the phone like really like low key, and then it'll just happen. And like that's kind of what I want to do on my trip, is like document all that stuff, just like low key vibes. I love that. I feel like people are sharing their August as a recap, January as a recap, like those like little like short, my friends,
I think they're cool.
My friends are sharing that so much, and I find that so fucking sick because it's like little clips, like it's like just little snippets of their whole month, and it's just like, damn,
it's
man.
Cool. Some of them are way too quick. I'm like, that was a cool clip, but it's like bang, bang, bang.
I know, I
it
agree.
Goes so
I
quick.
agree.
So that's my one nab at anyone who's going to do one of those who's listening. Maybe
Make them
stretch
longer.
it out a little bit so I can like, see what you're doing.
But
it's like
finding just colors. Like, oh, it's a nice
like
color.
The corniness though, right? Finding the gratitude in the simple day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
Because like your day-to-day routine versus your day-to-day routine versus mine is so different, and like you don't really know what you're doing and what is cool to somebody else unless you share.
For sure. And I think getting back to like the New Year's topic and New Year's resolution, like what you just said, Matt, is like it is really daunting for a lot of people. I think a lot of people have that in their New Year's resolution, is be like, oh, I want to, because some people have crazy niche interests. They have crazy things they love, and the whole thing is like, because they see how successful you can be, however they measure success within sharing content. Like, oh my god, I'm gonna do it, and it is extremely overwhelming because, as Matt said, okay, you want to share content, but then you also have a 9-to-5 job, and you also have a family, and you have a relationship to maintain, and you have like other personal struggles, and you have like, I don't know, like maybe within those personal struggles, like depression or anxiety or like family struggles. So it's like kudos to everybody who are setting these goals and are getting up still at 5:45, even though they have a million other things to do and maybe half those things they can't even control. So that's the one thing. I think there was a post on Ramblr Project just about like, don't pretty much overwhelm. Like it can be very, very overwhelming.
Yeah.
And even the smallest thing about getting up. But I think we always talk about like it takes discipline. It's okay if you don't have New Year's resolutions. I think that's fine too. And because some people are so hard on themselves, especially
and just start small, right?
Yeah, when you set goals, people set big goals. They do. It's like, I want to make X amount of money. I want to travel here. I want to do this and do that. And it's like when you don't measure up to those goals, like I look back on mine that we did last year, and like probably like 60% was completed. And my first thought was like, damn, like I can't believe I only did 60%. Like I can't believe I didn't do this and that. I can't believe I didn't work hard enough. Like I want to write this again and make sure I do it. And I was thinking of the wrong reasons. And when you guys talk about it, which is so important with like, I remember my therapist bringing that up, like, okay, look back how far you came. Yeah. 40% of those things.
And also how many cool moments you've had this year. You went to Nashville like for a wedding.
Yeah, like it was a big year.
All these cool trips.
For a friend of mine, I was a lot around him, but like it was a big year.
You know what I mean?
And,
so like,
and the surgery.
You had
part
so
too.
many cool moments throughout the year as well. And like, I feel the same way.
But you know what I'm saying with a list, right? You see this list and you're like, I didn't measure up. And then right away it's like, wow, I'm not good enough to the standard that I set.
Yeah.
So I think that was just kind of, I don't know if it's happened to you guys. For me, it sucked at first. Then after it was like, man, Dan, like just snap out of it. Because like previous tools I've learned, it's like, no, but look, you could have very well, I don't know, it sounds bad, but passed away this year, right? Something serious happened this year. Lost a loved one this year where none of these things were achievable and you're just
scrambling. Well, like genuinely, you told me your brakes failed on the highway, bro. That was like not a cool moment.
Oh yeah. Hey, this is a quick disclaimer. When your brakes and pads need to be replaced, so when you tap the brakes and they start vibrating or making a sound like that, maybe it's time to get replaced. Or you hear like a hard squeaking sound, go replace your brakes, because my caliper locked into the brake, which locks up the tires, and it's very scary, and my car went off the road. So quick disclaimer. Yeah. We can go back to the podcast now. So get your brakes. Matt, actually, we should put Matt Ravida, Loyal Point Hanks. I know he likes to drag things out a little longer on the car.
Those tires. Oh god, thank God I already got them replaced.
I never saw those tires, bro. Like, dude,
this guy came over my house to like check the tread. Who checks the tread on someone's tires?
I do that.
It was that bad too. That he was so
about things your parents. My dad was so meticulous about like vehicle maintenance that now it's like so deeply embedded in me. I know everybody's tread on their tires to make sure it's safe. I know if they need windshield wiper fluid, if their headlight or taillight's out, if the car's clean inside, if it's like a car that's like prone to breaking down, I'm like, you should probably check that. Like, blah, blah. Yeah. So anyways, but
also too, like I don't know, like back to the goal thing, like I surprised myself with what I did this year. Like I remember I showed you the list and you're like, these are really achievable. And then I showed another friend and she's like, these are really, what does she say? These are really ambitious. And I was just like, wow, the two different perspectives. And I'm like, there's 3 things on that list that I didn't do, which like obviously sucks. I wanted to pay off my student loans in full this year. I wanted to do an art gallery with the photos I shot in Alberta. But I think those things didn't happen for a reason. And I think like logistically, the photos that I'm going to have from this trip are going to be a more well-rounded gallery than just like one specific location. A gallery is a goal that I've had, and I'm going to do it. It's just a matter of timing. It's something I've wanted to do forever. But yeah, I just think this year wasn't the right year, and I was able to do a lot of really cool shit this year.
But that's how you can also change your mindset, because you may not have reached the end goal, but you work towards the goal.
Yeah.
So like
That's true.
So like how you.
Yeah, I took strides, man. Like I genuinely like the positives out of that is like I set up a cool relationship with my friend, and she helped me do a Google Calendar layout, and like literally daily I was reaching out and like making strides and like trying to send emails and like trying to find locations and trying to find like booking and how do I do it for X amount of money and what are the ticket sales and trying to like get all that event planning. And then like I kind of got burnt out on that, and then we just like shifted my focus to some other things, and I was able to do some really cool things. And the thing that I learned about like the goals is like, be careful what you write down, because it's so specific, because it's like it will actually happen. Like, because I was telling Dan this on the last podcast, is I wrote down specifically 25 creative projects, and I did 25 exactly, which is like on my spiritual shit, right? Is like, dude, literally like what you write down will happen. Like what you write down.
Is our moral of this podcast to be like, write down at least even small things like
Yeah, genuinely. Whatever it is, man, if you want to make your bed 3 days a week, write it. Like, the more you write your shit down, the more it's going to happen, because like you're putting that into the universe that like you deserve that, and then you agree with that and you align with that. And like, I don't know, there's just so many examples this year for me that like I was like, fuck, I don't know how I'm going to do that. And then I just like did it. And then just like the next thing, I was just like, I don't know how I'm going to do that. Like, finding a new vehicle is like the one thing I can think of immediately. And I was like remembering that like, oh, once I find this vehicle, because there was a time crunch because of the winter time, and I was like, I found it like the second week of October, and then like the snow came the next week, and I was just like, divine timing, bro. It's fucking serious. Like, things happen the way they're supposed to. It's just like, write things down and be like mindful of like what you're kind of pacing your day on.
Okay, but let's say you write a goal down. I agree with that. But then what's your recommendation for people? Like, obviously, Matt, you said you achieved some goals as well. Would you say like what's a small stride every day? Would you say you have to be on it every single day? Like,
no, like,
depends your goal too. Some people.
I remember I looked back onto my list probably in like April, and I don't think I looked at it from January, and I was like stressed. I was like, bro, what the fuck? Like, how am I gonna get all this done? And then like you just casually like just keep doing the things you're doing, and then like things will kind of check themselves off like along the way. It's just like you have to be willing to like actually do the work. Like,
yeah.
I guess for me, it comes down to you literally have to know yourself and be self-aware. Like, I am very, very self-aware of what my capabilities are.
That's a very good point.
Right?
Yeah.
And part of like my disability and over the years has allowed me to have like hyper focus and hyper attention to things that that I want to accomplish in life. And so like, I know like my strengths, weaknesses. I know like what I can probably get done and what I can't get done. So that's why I'm going to have like, you know, it's so cliche, but like realistic goals.
yeah.
My realistic goals, like walking 24 hours last year, would be like freaking ludicrous to 99% of the people. But like, I fucking know I can do that. So I'm going to write that down as a goal, and I'm going to put it out there, and I'm going to go do it.
Yeah, that's really true. Like, there was stuff on that list that I wasn't writing. I was worried that I wasn't writing stuff that was like too ambitious. Like that, the 24-hour thing is a perfect example of that, because you knew within yourself you could do that based on your own mental grit, your own training, like how you train in general. Like, you know where your stopping point is, right?
Yep.
And nobody else knows that but you, and you are the only person who knows how deep that fucking hole will go. But like, it's important to stay not semi-realistic, but like stay within your means and stay within your threshold of like what you think is achievable. If you think something's achievable, if you say, I want to make $1 million, and you think that's achievable, then that's what you're going to do. Like, literally nobody's going to say you can't do that, because you first have to believe in yourself in those goals. Like, before anybody else, you have to believe in yourself and in those goals.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
It's good too. This is going to keep recording too, because we reset it.
Yeah. Perfect.
What were you going to say though?
So I kind of wanted to also add though, like, are you planning on repeating? So let's say you did the 24-hour walk.
Yep.
Let's say if you achieve that goal, are you writing that goal down again? Like, something
that's a good
like
one.
that?
That's a good one. For me, no. Once I've done something like that, it's almost just like it's now repetition and part of my life moving forward. I will. It depends, of course. Like, excuse me. I want
to put you in the spot.
No, it's fine. I have this conversation with myself and Sarah all the time.
McAfeeing you.
Yeah, I mentally want to. It more comes down to logistics of like the wedding and stuff like that. Like, can I actually feasibly go out and organize another event? Wedding. Yeah, I would. Don't put
as
that
you're
idea.
walking, you get married, you go through like your vows.
24-hour wedding.
Man, don't put that idea in my head. Like, I probably would figure out a way.
That'd be the first probably 24-hour walking wedding ever.
That would be so cool.
Could you
just
imagine?
like if a venue
in suits, bro?
If a venue allowed that, I would do it. Oh my god.
What did you just start, Dan?
Yeah, you should not have said that. Wow.
Don't write that down in your goals.
Yeah. But yeah, that also comes from like, I don't know how someone would describe me. Not narcissistic, but narcissistic.
No.
But like, because like he's right. Like the 24-hour.
But there's got to be like a degree of like craziness.
I know.
What you're trying to say.
So narcissistic is a bad word, but I am crazy because I wouldn't consider that a goal. Yeah. It's because like I've already hit that threshold, so I'm just like, I need something new.
But
I need something
there
different.
always is something, right? Like, there's like Rick Rubin, my guy. Like, he's not a normal dude, but he's a genius, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's what makes people, they're fucking in their own lane of shit, is like, they are, there's just...
Oh, I'm fine with like having the label crazy. Like, you have to be somewhat crazy.
You got to be a little
like,
different, my guy.
to accomplish some of the things that like I'm trying to juggle all at once and try and do. Like, you have to be, and I'm fine with that. Like, I've accepted that. It's freaking who I am, and I wouldn't change it for the world and who I am, right?
Exactly.
So like that's okay. But like, that is a very interesting discussion, because like when you discuss once things you've already accomplished and how you set new goals, that's where you get in trouble of like, now I've accomplished something so great to so many people, I might belittle it. And now thinking that my next goal has to be like, I have to walk across Canada.
I remember you saying
right?
that. That's where people get lost and you get overwhelmed.
And that's
it's
like
tough to measure up. Like,
and that's where the daunting thing comes from. And that's where I am also still learning, where I just said that I might not do it this year because I'm planning a wedding. Like, that's pretty self-explanatory. Like, I'm getting married like 2 months after, and I'm doing all these other things. Yeah. Whereas like the old Matt would be like, fuck yeah, I'm doing it. But like, I'm realizing as I mature that like, no, like I need to slow down.
And that's you coming back into yourself, right? That's you being self-aware.
Being self-aware, right?
And knowing your limits. And
because we had this discussion where, was it Bradley, the guy who runs that, who had that dinner, right? And I discussed with you, right? I want to reach out to people that I know who own restaurants, because I wanted to do that just like in our communities. And then for me, how I usually operate is like, when I have these grand ideas, I have to try and go do them, figure it out tomorrow. But then when I like talking to you and talking to Sarah, I'm just like, where I need to learn, where I need to calm down, is that just because I have these grand ideas, no one else knows about them. No one's going to care whether I do or don't do it. It's my ideas. Like, I don't need to change the world or attempt to change the world overnight.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can do this 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line. I don't need to do everything right away. And that's where like I'm trying to learn, like, Matt, like, you do enough as it is, and then you need to learn to like, okay, calm down a bit. You can do those things next year, or 5 year, 10-year goal and things like that.
Slow growth is better than no growth always, man. Yeah. Always.
And just working towards those goals, right? Which is why I think
like,
it's huge.
Somebody who's setting super crazy ambitious goals and like killing themselves in the process is like, that's the toxic part of like the new year, new me, right?
And you're gonna push yourself down even further than when you started off by writing those goals.
It's so important that you mentioned being realistic, Matt, because like that's what it comes down to. And I guess that is the bigger overarching theme of the episode, is like, just you personally, like you as yourself, knows what you're capable of, and it's just like important to set things if you want to, right?
It's a tough discussion to have with yourself, because I'm being hypocritical, because I'm saying know your limits, but then do you really know your limits? Because like, you need to push through it.
It's a hard balance, man, right?
Super hard. I'm thinking about what we're talking about. I'm starting to think about like my hamster wheel is going about my goals. It's like, man, it's like, but what do you know? Like, if you don't have clarity on certain things too, and expectations
like
could be off.
Goggins, right? That's the basic example of like, you don't know your limits, and like, it's like.
But he's also to an extreme. Like,
exactly.
He's like the Gary V of putting out content.
He inspires me for a lot of things, but let's be honest.
You have to read. You gotta pick the post.
No, what I want to live that life, it looks fucking miserable. Yeah. What he does looks miserable.
Dude, he's got his knees are
like his knees are destroyed. His feet are destroyed. He's probably like his body will be decrepit for years to come. Do I love his mindset and why I apply it for a lot of things? Of course I will, and I love that for that. But I have to understand that it serves a certain purpose in my life. I'm not going to go run 20 kilometers every single day.
I feel the exact same way about
to destroy my body.
But I think that's the other thing too, is you take what he says with a grain of salt and then apply his motives where you can in your life.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think that's where he still serves such a huge high
purpose in
people's lives.
Yeah.
But it's like, wow, that guy is crazy. But at the same time, it's like, that guy just motivated me to even get up and go for a walk.
Of course.
Right?
I just wonder who he looks up to. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder who he thinks is a crazy person.
I heard someone who's listened to the podcast more recently. I heard the Joe Rogan podcast with him.
His most recent one?
Me too.
I need to tap into his new one.
I did kind of like
it, Matt, because I was like blown the fuck away by it.
Know what he said? Someone asked him that. Joe Rogan asked him, like, kind of alluded to a question similar, like, well, what gives you motivation? And he goes, like, all the motherfuckers that are out there. When I'm sitting at home, all the motherfuckers that are out there getting hard. He goes, those are the ones that motivate me, because they're out there in the shit, in the rain, in the morning, in the cold, blah, blah, blah.
It's
running,
true.
they're getting hard. So that's what him is, just like the people who are out there, like, while he's sitting on his ass, the people that are out there getting hard. So That's what he's after.
Yeah, I'd love to have a conversation with him because I know he's alluded to it sometimes. But I had a deep dive. It's like the motivation versus discipline. His whole catchphrase, "I'm a disciple of discipline." Like, is he truly motivated every single day, or he's just so he's so crazy that he really is, and he is a disciple of discipline?
There's motivation, there's dedication, and then there's obsession.
Yeah.
Right. And he said that in one of his podcasts. He's obsessed.
Yeah. And that's where the discipline. That's where he says
that was maybe CT Fletcher. Because he talks about my wild obsession. That's like his saying. Is like my.
I can't remember where.
Because Goggins really.
Anyways, it doesn't really matter.
We know Goggins' thing is like, I'm the disciple of discipline. Like that's really one of his like catchphrases, and like it's true. Like he gets up freaking every day and does his whatever.
But he was talking about the episode that I listened to with Joe. He was talking about how he does his morning routine, right? Like he runs his whatever miles in the morning, does all of his shit in the morning, and then has the rest of the day because he knows he has. Let's say he finishes at 8. He has 8 to 8 to live his life, which is like people think, oh my God, this person's running for fucking 48 hours straight. It's like, no, like that's where he categorizes it as like mental, what does he say? Like mental break zone or whatever. He has a saying for it. It's super interesting. But like he says like when he's eating dinner with his wife or like he's cooking or like whatever, that's his like his mental chill zone. Yeah. But then he knows every morning that's when the work comes.
I'd love to actually know his routine.
That's kind of like, I feel like that's maybe like where you're finding love in it is because you know at 6 o'clock, 6:30, whatever, you're in the gym. You know that like I'll be in the gym for myself for that fucking hour and a half, 2 hours, and then you know 9 through 5 or 9 through 8 is for work for Sarah, for food, for hanging out. Like, but you would feel guilty if you didn't do it in the morning because you know that's something that it's a priority of you. Like I don't know. In school, I did the work and I did some of the morning workout things, and I really fucking loved it too. Like it's just like because you have the rest of the day, you're just like, okay, I did the shit that I prioritize, I need to do. Yeah. And then the rest of the day, I can hang, and that's why cold exposure like still like sticks in my brain so hard.
I think that's also where I have a bit of Goggins in me and like letting other people motivate me because like there is a whole saying me versus me, but it really is also me versus you because he is right in a sense that like if I'm trying to start a business, if I'm trying to be a best version of me, if I'm trying to go after this goal in life, there's other people who are working just as hard or even harder. Yeah. So like I don't let it ruin my life if I'm not working 100%, productivity every single day of my life. Don't get it twisted, but like it serves a purpose. And like I have that Goggins in me because people always say to me like random things, like when I have these ambition goals that like, oh, like, are you sure you can do that? Or like, do you really want to do that? Like, you don't know how hard it is. Like, you're not worried. Yeah. And like, I always say this thing, right?
Because they're just projecting, man. Like I remember like I took a third job on in school. And the first thing I got asked is like, you're going to burn yourself out. Can you do this? Can you do this? I finished the year and I got grades. Like I made it on the other side. Like it's just you know your own threshold, right? And like I knew in that moment that I could do that. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be not hard, but it doesn't mean I can't do it. And that's just like I feel like people need to push themselves, and like that's another conversation on its own. Like that's that's,
I think you're saying though it applies to like what we're saying with like the setting goals in 2023. Like I think what you're saying applies.
You don't know your limits until you try.
Exactly, but I think I like also too like you guys said you set goals within a certain threshold, but for certain goals you'll have to push yourself if it really means a lot to you, and then you'll have to push yourself past that threshold to really achieve some of those things, right?
That's like kind of what I mean by like you think you're on that 10th rep, that's your last rep, you probably could do 2 more. Like let's be honest, and it's just like you know what I mean. Like we're tired, it's the end of the night. Like no, I could spend 30 more minutes editing my pictures or editing my content so it looks better, right? Like I'm tired. Like are you really though? Yeah. And it's just like not going to a certain extreme.
Your fucking brain quits. Sorry, your brain quits always before your body quits. Always.
Oh, of course, I agree with that 100%. Always. And I learned that from like hardcore intense training when I was like doing for basketball. Like I thought it was just a joke, but like no, like your mind goes before your actual physical body, and even if your physical
because it's a fighter. Like if you break it down, it's like a fight or flight thing, and your body thinks you're in distress, and you're like, no, homie, I'm just hanging out. We're just working. We're just like. Yeah. Like it's interesting, man.
I just don't want to create excuses for when I'm older in life, and like I want to be a beacon to my future kids.
But you never will, man, because like you've had this mentality forever, and it's just like you're actively doing the things.
Oh, I know, and this is why like I'm
just like you should be really proud of yourself.
Like why I'm setting these foundations now, because people say like, oh, I can't work out, or I couldn't focus on myself because I have kids, or because I got married. I'm just like, there's literally X amount of hours in a day.
Yeah, everybody has the same 24.
And if you work 8 hours a day, if that's your life, okay. So then, like what you said, I try and set a few hours beforehand. Then there's time afterwards. If you really wanted to accomplish something, get something done, you will make time for what it is, right?
Yeah.
It's obviously gonna be days where sometimes it's just physically impossible, and that's fine. But like that's where like the hard thing for me when people say, "Oh, I don't have time." I'm just like, man, like if we switch shoes, could I find time in your day?
Yeah.
Like if you switch shoes with me,
it's hard.
You know what I mean?
It's a hard lesson to come to because like you'll realize that like those types of people will never learn. Like you could tell them, you could literally break their fucking day down for them and be like, here's all the hours, and then they wouldn't do it still, like because you don't want to.
I think also too a lot of this stems for me at least from like the fact that like I try to take my own life and how like watching my brother die at 17, it's like you really again have such a fond appreciation for life. So it's like that's why I'm like freaking super high on
Same.
high
I
on
feel
life.
like I've definitely like I feel like I'm constantly thinking about life and how like we literally only have one example. We have one. Yeah. People think you have like this ain't respawn. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like it's done, man.
Yeah.
But how about you? What are you looking to do? Not even as a goal, just like what are you looking forward to in 2023?
Yeah.
We got a guest.
So Matt just asked me. I'll flip back in.
Do you want me just to read?
No, I can go.
I can because
go.
then if it's recorded,
I think what I'm about to say is really fitting considering who just walked in.
I think it's awesome. Proposing?
So no.
I put him on the spot.
But no,
I've got wedding fever.
I think it's for me. It's like one of the goals for 2023 isn't to chase feelings and to chase certain things. Like just enjoy little moments. Like for example, like my girlfriend and I, we have little moments sometimes throughout the night where we're just like dancing and we have music playing. The two of us are just dancing. Like food's cooking. We both have to work the next day or do things, and it's like those little moments. If you like bottle those up, those are like the best moments in life, and everything else is secondary. Yeah. So a goal for 2023 is to really embrace those little moments, embrace those little connections, embrace these little things that like money, opportunity, or I don't know, like things can't buy. Like you just can't acquire those. So it's like finding the greatness, the good, finding the best thing out of every situation is like that's like 1A for goals for sure. Then everything else kind of falls into that. So really hold myself accountable for like those feelings. Be like, I have a crappy day, but what's good? Well, I had to enjoy a meal with, people I care about or enjoy a podcast. So 1A is that. 1B is like I love to design and create. So kind of like continue pushing that endeavor. But yeah, everything else is kind of loose. I don't want to dive down rabbit holes, but I kind of really want to share the first one because I feel like I get caught up in which everybody does, going on Instagram, like, oh wow, like they're living a really cool life. I want to do that, or I want to travel, or do this, or jealousy, or expectation gaps, or blah blah blah. So mine would be definitely it's just enjoy those little moments, and everything else will fall into place. So
I have a quick question for that because I think that's like super valuable and like super important to someone who's in, like people who are in relationships. But what made you come to that conclusion? Like, where is it that you felt that you weren't appreciating those lighter moments, smaller moments in life in years past, or like did something happen like? Not even necessarily trauma, but you're like you came to this realization like, holy shit, like these small moments where you dance in the kitchen, and I've been there with Sarah where it's like you just like pure bliss and pure happiness, right? So it's just like, but what made you come to that realization that you want to try and appreciate those more?
I think it's from reflecting and looking back, and when I had like super low points, like, well, why do I feel like this? Oh, I feel like this. I'm feeling really low, and I'm feeling really like no purpose. I'm feeling no drive. But I was just on my phone for 20 minutes scrolling through Instagram, looking at everyone else's life and looking what they're doing. Or I just watched a movie on how this person got successful and I'm not measuring up to that. So I kept like documenting and writing down like, oh wow, like I am not measuring up to these certain feelings at these certain points in time. And then being like, okay, but then when am I feeling good? So I look through like past journals or past entries. I'm like, well, I feel good when I'm embracing a moment. And I have a way clearer mind because I feel grounded and I feel purpose and I have drive, and all that like noise and like fog of what I want to be and my purpose, like it becomes so much clearer when I'm in the moment. So what you just said, the moment I did realize that was just from like lots of time of like through therapy and documentation and like looking back at my life, and the best moments, wasn't when I had a $500 dinner. The best moments is when, I had dinner on the side of the road with this like foreign family that like it's just something you'd never expect, because I'm in the moment being like, I'll never experience this ever again. So I think it's just like, to be honest, a lot of people look for answers when they're young, but it just comes with age and experience and writing down and going through hardship and finding truly about yourself what means the most. Like I've cherished this conversation because Matt's traveling, so it's like I'm trying to get the most out of this because it's important. So
Yeah.
I think it just takes time. So for 2023 is like really become clear, because then also for me, someone who's anxious and stressed, it really allows me to calm and be slow and exhale and like enjoy these moments.
That's why anxiety fucking sucks, man. Because like your brain is like think about all the shit that can go wrong, and like it takes. I experience the same thing too. I find myself struggling to be present and like in the moment, because I'm thinking about like the first example I can think of is like when I was in Kentucky. I was thinking about like, okay, I gotta like make sure I'm drinking a lot of water and like make sure I'm not drinking because like it's so hot. I don't want to pass out. I need to get home like tonight. I'm like, oh, it's like so many things, right? And instead, I'm just like there to just like listen to music. Like that's the only reason I was there. And it's like you just gotta like slow down. And I'm trying to do the same thing too. So I definitely relate to those feelings, man. But
I think that's like the most important goal that we've talked about today.
Yeah,
like by far the best.
Being present, man. Being present is so important.
Tough though, man.
Yeah.
We're all pretty aware people, and so many times a day I try and catch myself and be like, man, you gotta slow down.
Yeah.
Like or like Kiara tells me, you gotta like, like you gotta just enjoy these moments, and like you think of the what ifs and these possibilities, and like, you'll run yourself mad running scenarios through your head of possibility.
And when are you ever actually right? Somebody told me that the other day, and he said, when are you actually ever right about all the shit that you're thinking about? And I was like, fuck you, you're so right, man. You're so true. It's so true. Because the actual, even if they're bad outcomes, right? The actual outcomes never equate that specific idea. You know? Like, if you think, oh my God, this is going to happen, like, maybe something similar to that happens, but that exact thing doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Which, like, that moment for me was really cool. I was like, yes.
Yeah. So is there any like things that you can make actionable that you're actually gonna try to have that goal come to fruition this year? Like, do you think if like say for instance like you're having that thing with your girlfriend, and then like you're at dinner time, like you're both scrolling through your phone, could you like have the awareness to be like, okay, let's put our fucking phones down?
I
and let's
do,
be
but
in this
that's also her job. She'd be like, damn, what the fuck are you doing on your phone? We're
Yeah.
enjoying a nice meal. So I think that is, but at the same time, it's like, unfortunately, like you need in order to have these like amazing days, you need the struggle. So I need to have those like chaotic chasing, putting out fire days. Then I'll be like, you know what? Like I don't have to be doing that right now. And then rewinding a little bit, stepping back and being like, wow, it's a really cool moment that I'm enjoying. Yeah. So I think you asked me how many, it's just like, it's going to be a push and pull. Yeah. And like when I set a goal, it's just like having more of those like wholesome grounded moments where I can actually breathe and exhale. Let's say this past year, maybe I had like 100 of those moments. Yeah. Like my goal for this year is to have like one a day. So like one moment a day where I'm like, wow, like that was a really, you know what? Today we're at work, I was chasing around, like running around. But I had that one moment at that stoplight where that song came on, and I just like nothing else mattered that moment. Yeah. So it's like once a day reflecting these little things. I think it's like that's like the goal. So.
Yeah. No, I'm literally just like thinking because I think we all struggle from that, and like I feel for me how I've like coped with like living in the moment and not living in the moment was like I will go on vacation for like 2-3 weeks a year and like reset. Like, oh yeah, I'll post like stories of like me away, but I'm literally always usually off the grid. Like people don't reach me. Like I just turn off my phone. I don't even get like a plane. Like I was in Aruba, yeah, I'll post some stories, but I'm mostly just like living in the moment. And then I realized that like that's not always necessarily healthy.
I think it's different, right? but it'll come with experience.
For sure. And like I think like it's just because like when like remember what Jenna talked about, like how we have like probably high functioning anxiety, like what's that term that she used? Oh my goodness,
I can't remember. We have to have her back on.
Yeah, well, like it's people who like are like chasing all these goals, and like it's like I forget what it is, and then but some type of high level functioning anxiety, and then that's where I feel like because we're always trying to chase that next thing. Like for me personally, it's like okay, I'm trying to fix the world, and sometimes my relationship goes on the back burner. And Sarah's become accustomed to that because she goes, well, he's doing it for the greater good, so how can I stop him from raising awareness for this and all that, right? Which is nice to have support, but then this is where she snaps back. It's like, no, Matt, like you have to put a relationship on the same level playing field as like saving someone's life. Yeah. As weird as that sounds, bad example, but it's like changing the world and things like that because it is important because
it's your world first.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And like we are communicating about that, right? And I'm trying to, and I'm learning as we go. LOL, almost 10 years into it, still learning. But I mean, we're teenagers when we got together, right? And all these things. So we're growing together and being our own individual person while also being a partnership together, aka Bonnie and Clyde. Back in the day when we were devil kids, but and I think that's why it's super important, like you said, to enjoy those moments.
Yeah, and
I think we all
that's the biggest thing like shed into my dating life is like I want someone because I want a lot for my life, and I want someone who's willing to like help me along the way. Like I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, like just I want what he has now, you know. And I'm like, fuck, man, like let's like build some shit together.
Yeah,
like,
but
having
the
someone
thing
there who
is too-
supports you and like knows that is so cool, man.
But I think also what you just said there is kind of a fallacy in the terms, because people in relationships can allude to this. You're not going to find that right away.
I know.
Like, and that's also partially a you
I'm not
problem.
worried about it anymore. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
I mean,
going
like-
into travel mode. Okay. It's all just like
You're there for Matthew first.
survive.
Yeah, we're not going to deep dive
first.
into that, because I feel that's a whole other story.
That
but
was
like,
another story.
yeah, but like searching for that right away is almost impossible.
Yes.
Unless you're both like have a.
Don't put that as a goal
established
for
careers
2020.
No,
Yeah,
no,
it's
no,
not-
not on my
should not be a
goal.
goal.
I'm like I'm over it. I think I've come to conclusions. It's fine.
Not just conclusions, like reality.
It'll
I've
be
come,
natural.
Yeah, I've
you
come
have-
to reality. I've come
Yeah,
to
you have to.
You'll have someone come and autofocus your camera for you or something.
Yeah,
You'll be
like-
damn, like what is that? This should be. You'll be like, oh, well, there you go.
And then
Fall in
and
love.
then it's like he's like
come
filming,
to terms.
Yeah,
I've come
like-
to terms. Yeah. But
It's
it's
all
like
good, man.
I don't know. We can talk about it off air. It's fine.
Yeah, no, it's cool. But no, I was like kind of wrapping up. But like as we said, there's no pressure for goals. There's no right time for
Yeah.
goals. Like I think it is important if you really care deep down about something and it's something that will help you grow. It's like for sure write it down,
Yeah.
manifest it, and work towards it. Like for what both you guys have did. Like Matt, you're on a great track with like what you're doing. As I said, I brought it up to you today. Like radiates so much positivity. So yeah, and it also is super motivating for me seeing that in the morning. Like wow, Matt's already up walking. Like. And then let me at least get up and do something, right? And
Okay,
and
chill,
Matt,
chill,
what you're
chill.
saying, like you hit like all your marks, what you did, and you're about to do a trip that you never thought you'd ever do.
Yeah.
So it's like that was
Yeah.
written down as your goals, and it's always been a deep down, long term thing. So I think it is important to write things down. If it is sometimes important when it adds pressure, but also don't let that pressure like destroy your life and dictate you. And just like what my goal was, like enjoy the
Yeah.
moment. So
Yeah.
yeah, take care of yourself first, goals second. But yeah, unless you guys have anything else to say. And
I think for me, it's just like 2023 for me is just like be actionable. Like,
Yeah.
don't just share posts and talk the talk. Like, if you want to do something or you want to support someone or something, like, then go action it and go actually attempt to do it. And what I mean by that quick example is like, you know, when Twitch died, right? Like the choreographer and the, you know, amazing inspiration, positive individual, everyone sharing posts about how go check up on your friend. Well, who's doing that? Like, how many people are actually going to go check up on the friends or just sharing a viral post and things like that, right? Like, that's just a very small example, but of like, that's what I am trying to do in 2023 is make things actionable and call out people who are close to me. Like, oh, I want to do X, Y, Z, but this is stopping me. I'm like, well, why is it stopping you?
Yeah.
Like, go action it. Go even take 5 minutes of your day and go take an hour out of your week to just try and find ways to action things that you want to kind of do for this year. That's
Yeah.
it for me.
Yeah, and like even if there's a tangible thing that's in the way, like there's a solution for that thing. You know?
For sure. Yeah.
Which is cool. Which is like I've been learning too.
And then speaking of that, to end it off, go check up on your loved ones, actually.
Yeah.
Reach
send a
out.
Message them. It
Reach
takes
out.
5 minutes, 10
Reach
minutes a week. Message one friend,
And if you're
one
not okay,
family
reach
member.
out. It sucks, but it's better. It's always better.
Well, 2023. Let's
Let's
get
go.
it. Great podcast. I like that one.